Okay, what if the future of manufacturing isn't actually about robots stealing our jobs, but rather helping us do them better? For years, the big fear has been that automation is coming for us all, right? That the factory of the future is just going to be this dark, silent place run entirely by algorithms and machines. But what if that whole narrative is completely backward? What if the next massive leap in industrial progress literally puts you, the human, right back at the center of the entire operation?
Welcome to this explainer on Industry 5.0, the human-centric revolution. Today, we are completely flipping the script. We're moving away from that fear of being replaced and diving headfirst into the incredibly empowering reality of human-machine collaboration. Because as it turns out, the most advanced factories of tomorrow, they won't succeed by getting rid of human workers, they'll succeed by elevating them.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for the journey today. We'll start with the next industrial revolution, then unpack the core of Industry 5.0. After that, we'll look at aerospace innovations in action, explore the workforce of tomorrow, and finally, wrap up with the challenges and the future. So, kicking things off with Section 1, the next industrial revolution. Think back through history for a second. Every single industrial revolution fundamentally changed what humans actually did on the job. In 1784, steam power and mechanization took the really heavy physical burden off workers. By 1870, electrification brought us the assembly line. Jump to 1969, and we got early automation with programmable logic controllers. And then, in 2011, boom, we entered Industry 4.0. That was the era of total digitization, cyber-physical systems, and the Internet of Things.
Now, what's really fascinating about that evolutionary journey is the trajectory we took with the fourth revolution. Industry 4.0 was just intensely technology-driven. The entire focus was on creating these rigid, hyper-automated smart factories powered by big data and AI. And honestly, the implicit goal there was to streamline things by removing the human element wherever possible. It was all about machines talking to machines. But, as industries have quickly figured out, highly customized, unpredictable environments just do not work well without human ingenuity.
And that brings us to the ultimate paradigm shift. Where Industry 4.0 was purely tech-driven, focused entirely on automation and data exchange, Industry 5.0 is value-driven. And to be clear, it doesn't replace 4.0, it builds on top of it. The huge realization here is that replacing humans was never the endgame. Empowering them is. We're shifting to a system that is fundamentally human-centric, sustainable, and deliberately designed to pair human creativity with machine precision.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 2. The core of Industry 5.0.
The European Commission actually formalized this whole shift by establishing three massive foundational pillars. First up, human-centric. That means putting human skills back at the center of production and actively tailoring the tech to fit the workers' needs. Second, resilient. This is all about fortifying our production systems against global disruptions, making sure our supply chains can actually adapt when things go wrong. And third, sustainable. We have to operate within our planetary boundaries, cut down emissions, and build circular procedures.
Now, to actually pull this off, we rely on this amazing concept called collaborative intelligence, or if you want the technical term, human cyber-physical systems. This is a game changer. Instead of a human just hitting a green button to start a machine and walking away, the system actively includes the human inside the cyber-physical loop. Machines are literally being designed now to support human ergonomics and cognitive well-being. It's this beautiful synergy where the machine handles the dull, repetitive heavy lifting, and the human provides the intuition, the problem-solving, and that irreplaceable craftsmanship.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next topic. Let's look at Section 3, Aerospace Innovations in Action.
Honestly, there is almost no better testing ground for Industry 5.0 than the ridiculously complex world of aerospace manufacturing. Think about a traditional setup. Programming a robot to work on a customized aircraft fuselage takes hours and hours of complex, offline coding by a specialized engineer. But under Industry 5.0, a worker on the shop floor can just throw on a pair of augmented reality glasses. Using a super intuitive AR interface, they can physically map out the robot's path right there in real space. It completely bypasses the complex coding and makes the whole process incredibly efficient and, best of all, totally independent of deep coding skills.
Let's move along and see how this builds into an area that is absolutely critical for our sustainable future: hydrogen-powered aviation. Now, hydrogen is highly flammable, and worse, it's completely invisible. So detecting leaks is inherently dangerous and relies totally on a technician's expertise. But check this out.
With AR applications, a technician is guided by a digital ring collider. It looks almost like a hologram floating in front of them, showing the exact optimal path to move the sensor. By processing all that data in real time, the tech literally makes an invisible gas visible. It gives the technician a superpower to do their job safely every single time.
Here's another fantastic example, this time from aircraft interior assembly. High customization in an airplane cabin means the assembly process is constantly changing. Enter the flexible interior assembly station. Here, a collaborative robot, or cobot, is specifically designed to work safely right next to a human. It's basically a tireless third hand that holds heavy parts or applies adhesives with absolute perfect repeatability. Meanwhile, a smart laser projector beams visual instructions and component positions right onto the work surface. The mental strain on the worker plummets, but the quality and agility absolutely skyrocket.
So when we zoom out and look at all these aerospace use cases, the tangible real-world benefits of Industry 5.0 are just undeniable. We get enhanced customization because human creativity is finally back in the loop. We see massively improved worker well-being because both the physical and cognitive strains are reduced, creating jobs that are safer and way more intellectually engaging. We achieve sustainable production by optimizing how we use resources, which enables green tech like hydrogen. And finally, we get rapid agility. Production lines can pivot on a dime to keep up with our incredibly fast-paced world.
Which brings us to a very important question in Section 4, the workforce of tomorrow.
Look, if the machines are changing this drastically, how do we need to adapt? Well, the World Economic Forum recently put out a quote that I think absolutely hits the nail on the head. They said, "Cognitive, emotional, interdisciplinary, and ethical competencies are as critical as technical skills." Let that sink in for a second. For decades, we've basically been trained to act more like machines to keep up. But in Industry 5.0, your distinctly human traits, your empathy, your ethical judgment, your emotional intelligence, those are becoming your absolute most valuable, unautomatable assets.
So, the crucial point we need to make here is that we are entering an era that demands a hybrid skill set. Yes, for sure, you're going to need AI literacy and systems thinking to work smoothly with all this digital infrastructure. But you equally need ethical reasoning, complex problem solving, and creativity. The jobs of tomorrow are going to focus heavily on the design, the supervision, and the ethical governance of these intelligent systems. Which means lifelong learning? It isn't just a corporate buzzword anymore. It's literally an absolute necessity if you want to thrive in this new landscape.
All right, wrapping things up with Section 5, Challenges and the Future. Now, I want to be totally real with you here. Transforming global manufacturing is definitely not an overnight process, and the business realities on the ground are pretty daunting. First, you've got high initial investment costs. Hooking up all this IoT, AI, and cobots requires huge upfront capital. Second, severe cybersecurity risks. When you connect workers, machines, and the cloud together, you open the door to potentially devastating cyber attacks. And third, implementation and reskilling complexity. You can't just unbox a cobot and call it a day. It requires re-engineering processes that have been in place for decades and making a massive commitment to retraining your workforce.
But here's the bottom line. Despite these massive hurdles, turning back just isn't an option. The ultimate goal of Industry 5.0 is Green Intelligent Manufacturing, or GIM. It's a brand new paradigm that completely merges advanced, intelligent techniques with hard, sustainable objectives. Adopting these practices is absolutely vital. It's how we actually respect our planetary boundaries, shrink our environmental footprint, and make sure our supply chains can survive the inevitable global shocks of the future. The cost of not adapting is frankly just too high.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've seen how Industry 5.0 takes our relationship with technology and shifts it from a feeling of competition to one of profound, empowering collaboration. It's a future that promises to be safer, smarter, and definitely greener. But it requires all of us to step up. So I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. In a world where machines are finally handling the repetitive heavy lifting, how will you use your distinctly human skills to shape the future?